Today on the Salesforce Admins Podcast, we're talking with Nikita Kothari, senior member of the technical staff here at Salesforce, about using Agentforce for setup to understand and manage record access. Sharing can be one of those invisible parts of the platform until someone can see a record they shouldn't or can't see one they need to. Nikita explains how admins can use natural language questions to trace access across org-wide defaults, role hierarchies, sharing, rules, groups, and manual shares. We also discuss why validation, permissions, testing, and human approval remain essential when AI helps make configuration changes. So, give this episode a listen, click that subscribe button, maybe share it with another Salesforce admin who's ever asked, why can this user see this record? Let's get Nikita on the podcast. So, Nikita, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Mike. It is amazing to be here. I'm from the engineering team, so you'll get a lot of perspective on how we are building Agentforce for setup on sharing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. Let's first get a little acquainted with you. What do you do at Salesforce, and what are some of the things that you've worked on?
So it's been close to 2 years I'm working with Salesforce, and currently I'm working with access control and sharing space. What pulled me in is the realization that sharing is one of those invisible infrastructure layer. When it works, nobody thinks about it. But when it breaks, it actually breaks the customer trust. And you know how customer-centric Salesforce is. Its number one priority is trust. So there is lot of critical issues that we are dealing with, and we are trying to make the sharing is the best place for the admins. And we love our admins, and we are trying to make things better for them.
I love our admins too. I used to be one for a while. I'd like to still think I am, but we'll see. Well, let's get into it. So I read your article, and I'll link to that in the show notes. Tell me, before setup with Agentforce, what did an admin have to do to answer a question of why can this user see this opportunity and this user not?
Oh, good question. So it's the simplest way of dealing with solving the sharing's toughest problem. So just to enable the Agentforce, you don't have to do anything. It comes along with the Agentforce. So go to the setup page, search for the Agentforce agent, and enable your setup with Agentforce. And then you can start writing those questions. You don't have to know anything beforehand. That's the best part of the Agentforce setup. And sharing is the challenging domain. I won't deny that. It is very, very complex. So answering even the simplest question that you ask, who this person is having access for this thing, it requires to look into lot of different domains like OWD, role hierarchy, sharing rules, sharing groups, manual shares, to see which layer actually give that access to that particular user. And looking that information, sometimes it's easier with the UI, but most of the time user has to run lots of SQL queries to get the correct answer. And previously admin was spending hours of work and sometimes even the afternoons just to deal with that single questions. And with Agentforce for setup, it's just a minute of work. You just give prompt to your chat box, and it will give you the correct answer within a seconds.
Yeah. It used to be a lot of archaeological digging. I think you called it that in the article. I know I used to have to feel like I was going through a checkbox, but tell me, walk us through a real investigation where, an admin discovers that a user can see a record they probably shouldn't. How would they use setup with Agentforce to trace where that access came from?
Yeah, great question. So while building these actions, we particularly divided into two different segments. First segment is the read action, and the second segment is the write action. Just to keep it things untangle. Read actions will help you to investigate. When you ask like a question like, why Nikita has access for these things. So our agent will go into the background, it will do all kind of research, and it will come up with the best answer. Okay, Nikita is part of this group, and this groups provide the access to this particular record. And what a right action on the hand will do, it will help you to solve that problem. Now like Nikita is part of the particular group. You can go ahead and ask your right action, can you please remove Nikita from this group? And your right action will help you to remove that particular user from that group, and boom, your problem is solved within a few minutes. It's reliable, it's fast, and I'm sure admin can save like a lot of time with these two things. And you don't need to know like which action or which thing you need. You just write the plain natural language, and our LLM would able to guess like where to navigate and how to solve that problem.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think you kind of walked us through what a good sharing investigation looks like, but for you, is there a sequence admin should follow so that they don't just jump straight to changing configuration?
I would say I would highly recommend admin to start playing with the read action. There is like no particular sequence, I would say, but mostly how the sharing is defined is like, first we have the OWD, which provides like the base access to the records and to the objects. And then comes the role hierarchy, then comes sharing rule, then we have public groups and queue, and we have the manual shares. So at each level, sharing opens up the door for more access. So if you're going like below the hierarchy, sharing will provide like more and more access to the user. And if you want to close that access, it's not easier that like one sharing rule will open up the access and then you create another sharing rule to close the access. It's not how it works. So in that case, you need to spend like a strategic amount of time thinking how you can like revoke that access. And sharing is like accumulation of the small decisions over the time. Sometimes adding someone to the group, reorg does like lot of for the reorg you have to do like lot of things with the sharing, and every decision gets compound. So I'll highly recommend our admins to at least spend like 30 minutes a month to refresh and reanalyze their sharing configuration to avoid the future problem. So this is basically the flow looks like, but there is like I would say like there is no any of like sequencing which admin should follow. It's like pretty much open, and admin can ask like any question to our agent.
No, I think you're right. I mean, setup with Agentforce can do a lot in terms of explaining the configuration and then help change it. I think you really touched on that last answer of just kind of slowing down for a second, verifying what the answer is to make sure that you're staying in control. My question to you would be, how should an admin validate what the agent tells them?
Oh, that's a good question. So for the read action, the information we have the mostly the links added to our prompts. We call it
Mm-hmm.
as a clickable link. So if investigation is saying that like Nikita is part of this group, actually there is a link of that group. So you can go to that group by clicking on that link, and you can actually see I am a part of that group. If you want to re-verify the stuff, so that will give you more confidence that like how admin is investigating the information. Or if admin is saying like Nikita is part of the sharing rule, and you will have the link for the sharing rule, so you can actually go and verify whether that sharing rule contains the group or the users where it is providing that access. And with the right action, I think more critical is the right action. I mean, you don't want your somebody AI is coming to your system and randomly making changes to your system. So to do that, we have the validation layers. The first validation we generally come up with is like, for every right action, we explicitly ask for the approval. approval from the person who is making the changes. And we also have the permission boundaries. Like if particular user doesn't have the permission to edit OWD, the agent won't be able to edit OWD for that person. And then the last part is like the accountability. Every change we are logging into the setup audit trail, saying that whether the AI agent did it or an actual person did it. And then admin can verify it, like, whatever changes is made by the AI agent are trustable or not. So we will always advise admin to go and do like as much as possible testing on the sandbox before making changes into the production. And another backup system is the Einstein trust layer. Like we always say is trust is our number one priority. So Salesforce has built trust everywhere to make sure that we are not like blindly making any changes, and like as this is like a very very critical domain to our customers.
Mm-hmm. No, that's great. You talked a lot about sharing, and I kind of always feel like making a change with sharing. You want to make sure that you're doing it right. In your opinion, what is the most important thing an admin should review before making a sharing change?
So I would say, as I said before, we have like some of the steps that I also wrote in my blog,
Mm-hmm.
that we have OWD, sharing rule, role hierarchy, and everything opens up the more access. So to close that access, it's very difficult to go back and fix something. So I would highly recommend, whenever is our admins are making the changes, try it out first thing on the sandbox if it is working as expected or not, or like have some verification system or like another set of eyes whenever you create some role hierarchy, or you're providing some access to the role. Rather than giving access to all of the user, first try with the minimal set of the user, try with like the one user and see if that user are getting right access to the right record. Because even if you fail to provide like a single user a wrong access, that means that you're leaking your data. So having those another just like starting with a small and then going into the bigger and bigger data, that would really help admin to build the reliable system.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it can do a lot, and I've seen it do a lot. But what is something that set up with Agentforce can help with today that maybe admins may not realize?
I feel like still adoption, it's kind of tricky because people doesn't want to. People are quite a lot thinking that setup with Agentforce will replace their job.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say like uh, rather than replacing, it will provide you a lot of capabilities, and it will remove like lot of overhead from your day-to-day work life, rather than like going and looking into the SQLs, or like doing everything by yourself. Just give it a try, and then you can see like how much opportunity it is opening up for you to save time, and that time you can actually use for building a more structural. And because structure mattered a lot when it comes for sharing, like how your roles are getting a access, or like how your groups are getting a access. And if you're just like blindly following the steps and not thinking much, then you are in a trouble. So you can spend more time in thinking about like how can you better make a structure for your organization, and you can get more time to think about your business. And I feel like most of the troubleshooting cases we have covered into the Agentforce for setup flow. Yeah.
You mentioned a lot. Admins should get out and use it and try it, and I'm a big proponent of that. So I'll end on this question: what for you is one kind of low risk question that an admin could ask set up with Agentforce today to better understand their sharing configuration?
I think my one of the favorite action among all of it is like record access, to ask like why this person is having a access to this record. And it will, and you see like how much it can do, like it will give you the whole list of the OWD configuration for that particular record, or like it will look for the sharing rule, it will look for the group membership, it will look for the manual shares, and it will do like all kind of investigation for you just by just when you type like a one single natural language to your agent. So you can always think about someone which is having a more knowledge about the setup is sitting with you and helping you to deal with your all of the setup configuration, because setup, again, we have like 1300 setup pages, which is a lot. And going through all and like learning those the capabilities of each setup action, it's difficult. So that's why we built the Agentforce for setup, which will give you the capability that you don't have to learn everything on the go, and you can like start asking question to our bot. If it won't be able to answer, it will guide you in the right direction to help and analyze your queries or your concerns.
Yeah. I am so glad that we have set up with Agentforce. I feel like I could have used it 20 years ago. I know I had a lot of questions and would have to dig through my notes on org-wide and sharing and group sharing and all kinds of that stuff. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate the article and you taking time out of your day to talk to admins and share your knowledge about sharing and setup and how we can do things better.
Yeah, I think admins are always on the top of our list. I would love to hear from our admins how they like this Agentforce for setup, specifically with the sharing, how it is helping them, or what they are looking forward to. Because I feel like most of our critical projects and best solution came up with the admin feedback. And we really want to make admin life easier. We always have like meetings internally. Our engineering team, our product is always so much focused about like thinking about our admins, thinking about the newer way to introduce some more features to make their lives easier so that they can focus on building a reliable solution. So it was great talking to you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you could share your knowledge with us today. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. And one more thing, we will be at Dreamforce. Larry, Cheryl is our product managers. They're having a lot to share at Dreamforce. So feel free to stop at user access booth. I'll be there too. So come and say hi and share your feedback. We would love to hear back from you. And we keep making like a lot of progress on Agentforce for setup. So stay tuned, follow our blogs, and it would be something will be really helpful in future for you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks again to Nikita for helping us understand how Agentforce for setup can make sharing investigations faster without taking judgment out of the Salesforce admin's hand. And the takeaway is just really simple. Use AI to uncover the source of access, validate what it tells you, and test changes carefully before they reach production. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, and I bet you did, I hope you did, you should subscribe to the Salesforce Admins podcast. Share this episode maybe with your team, fellow team, user group. Ooh, I like that. If you'd share it with the user group, that would be awesome. And then, how about this? Start with one low-risk question about your own org sharing configuration and ask that to set up with Agentforce. Until next time, we'll see you in the cloud.